Hi guys, Miss Walker here. I'm going to go through this week's task, which is the lock and key task. I'm going to explain what a stimulus is and how to respond to it. So first of all, a stimulus is a starting point for all drama activities. It's inspiration that influences you to create your own dramas. Basically, it is a starting point to help you with your stories. And if you remember that, it's ST for starting point, ST for stimulus, and ST for story. Now, a stimulus can be a word, a newspaper, a script, a photo, music, poetry, objects, or film or TV. It can be any of these things. But the idea is that you then work off the stimulus and then create your own idea for a story. So next up, we're going to learn today how to use a text as a stimulus, okay? Text is basically just words. So we're going to learn how to use different words as a stimulus today, okay? You'll be successful if you can offer ideas to stimulus and develop a scenario suitable for a performance. That doesn't mean we have helicopters and things coming in it, because that wouldn't be able to happen on the theatre. So the first thing you do is look at a stimulus and think about what it means to you. This is called responding, okay? So if I look at a picture of people arguing and my say, right, this means bullying to me, okay? That would be my storyline from that. That is one of the ideas that I think about when I think about an argument, okay? This is called responding when you come up with your ideas. Now, the first thing you have to do is create a mind map, which will help develop your story. Now, a lot of people got confused and said, Miss Walker, do I have to copy this down? And I said, no, that's not what you have to do. Your stimulus this week is the lock and key. But I didn't want to put the example of the lock and key up because people would just copy it and say that was their story. So what I've done instead is I've given you a different stimulus, but this is only for the example, called the unwanted visitor. So what I've done is that I've then taken little branches off of it, and I've said when I think of an unwanted visitor, I might think of a ghost, somebody that's unwanted in the house. I might think of a family member or a friend, somebody that's unwanted because they've said or done something or had an argument or something, okay? Maybe it was an unwanted child, okay? A salesperson, you get a lot of cold calling that sometimes comes to the house. People trying to sell you things. PPE, have you been in an accident? It could be a burglar, okay? It could be a boss. The boss, for example, is unwanted and comes to the employee's house when he's not needed to be there to fire them, or you can decide what your story is, okay? So then we work through the 5 W's, okay, and we work out who, what, where, why, when. And this is when we're starting to go into more detail about it. So who are the characters? So we want you to get the characters' full names and ages. So it could be like Sarah, 41, Sarah Smith, 41, mother, okay? Amy Smith, 13, child, okay? What is the drama about? That's when you tell your story. What is your plot about? When's the time period? Is it present day? Is it 1800s? Is it 1500s? Is it Victorian times? When is it actually set? Is it 1960s? Where is it set? Okay, is it the moon? Is it Mars? Is it America? Is it Scotland? Is it a old castle somewhere in England? Okay, and why the events are happening. Now, just to make it easy for you to understand, so you don't get too confused in this unwanted visitor, I'm going to escape this and I'm going to go into your template and explain a bit about that. So you've got here the responding to stimulus sheet. And you can see instead of the unwanted visitor, you've got a lock and key. Now for this lock and key, then you're going to write down your ideas. So I have written down things that you can look at here. For example, you might look at that lock and say, where would you see the lock and key? Right, or do you know, I could see one in a chest. Right, who would the chest be? Is it an attic room that belongs to somebody that's died? Or as a pirate chest? Or it could be a lock on a garden door. Well, prisons have locks. They don't look like that one, but they do have locks. Diaries have locks, okay? Anything that you can think of, you might see a lock to. So that's in a very literal way. It means it's actually happened. When you hear it say symbolic way, that means it's not real. And sometimes you'll talk about metaphors and similes, okay, in English, and you think about that. So the key to someone's heart, it could be the heart broken. It could be they've got their feelings locked up, okay? It could be somebody that's locked in a room, okay? It could be somebody that's trying to get out of a room. It's been locked in, okay? Or somebody that's been locked out somewhere. Where is that place? Why are they locked in or walked out? Okay, these are all things you would try and figure out. With a stimulus, there is no right and wrong answer. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go onto this mind map here. Now, this is being done as a Google image. If you click on the box, it comes up as drawing. Now, if you literally click on the number 1, it's for you to edit it. Okay, now I know some people are struggling with that, so you could literally write down pirate treasure. Let's just write down pirate. Okay, now I've written pirate treasure, as I would save and close that, and then it would be saving onto the original map. Okay, so if I press save and close, then I can assure you that it's going to go on to your map, and that's how you create it with things going on it. Okay, as much detail as you can write is the better. So that was the mind map idea. Okay, and it's all your ideas. Then to developing pages, which I've just gone through with who are the characters. So let's say we start off and we go for the idea of a pirate treasure. Okay, so who's the character? Long John Silver, 42, and One-Legged Pete, 34. Okay, the what happened could be the fact is the pirates go and search for the black doubloons. However, their ship gets cannonballed and sinks in the sea, and they are the treasure's now haunted, and if anybody gets a hold of it now, okay? Where it happens, when it happens, and why it happens, okay? So, I'm going to go back to the stimulus sheet and explain that. So I had done it here, and you can go back to our unwanted visitor again. So we should know how to do that. And then we've gone through a who, what, where's, and I've explained how that's going to work for the lock and key. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're now developing a scenario. Okay, and this is what I think it's caused a little bit of confusion. Okay, so here is my development. Okay, is a ghost. So that's my first idea. There's mum and dad, 2 kids, mum Shane Jones, Derek, Alex Jones, and Max Jones, 7. The family, this is still my 5 W's. As a family moved into a new house, they hear someone crying. They eventually discover the house is haunted by an old lady that used to live there. She wants them out. The ghost grows fond of the children, and the family are allowed to stay, and she stops haunting them. The parents think she went away, but the kids know better. So before I've even went into more detail about what is happening in each scene, I've thought of an overall storyline. Now that is your second task. As I said, you have to do at least 2 tasks. Okay. Now the more complicated task, which a lot of you have been getting wrong, is how to develop a scenario. Now when you develop a scenario, what you're doing is you are now thinking about the idea in more depth. Okay? So you're now going, right, if I was to turn this into a movie, how many scenes would I need? Now, a new scene takes place when a new event happens or a new location happens. And if you think about movies, every time they move to somewhere different, it's a new scene. Okay? Every time that somebody arrives or enters, it can be a new scene. Okay? If there is a passage of time, if, for example, 1 week later. Now, what you want to do is you want to try and show your story over a course of a couple of days at least. You don't want it all to have on the same day. Okay? And you want to show the passage of time. So scenario breakdown is you imagine yourself as a narrator. Okay? You're not you. It's not I. It's not we. You're not in the story at any point. This is not a script. When you're in a script, you put yourself in a story. In a scenario breakdown, you do not put yourself in the story. It's always from third person. So, my story here in question, right? If this was a script, okay, I wouldn't be writing time, place, and action. If it was a script, it would say something like, Jane, oh, this house is really nice. I like it too. The children walk around for a while. They spot loads of boxes. I wonder what's in here. Let's go and explore. Now that is a script, because if the actors were handing it, they would know exactly what to do and what to say. This is a breakdown, okay? When scriptwriters are writing the script, they are handed something like this, okay? And then they add the script to it. This is done before a script. So I'll go through it quickly for you. It is very important that you put time, place, and action. So time is the year, the month, the date. Okay? Place is where it is. Where does this happen? And action is what happens. Okay? Action are the events that happen. So what happens? So here's scene 1 for you. Scene 1, time 11 a.m, Thursday the 20th of January 2019. Victorian house. The family arrive at the new house carrying boxes. It is dusty and old and looks like it's not been there for a while. The kids are happy about the move and argue with mum and dad as why they had to leave the old house. The mum explains it's because the dad got a new job and the kids go off and explore. At no point have I used we. It's the kids, the family. It's all from third person. Okay, so you should at least have 3 scenes in your scenario breakdown. Now I've got 4. So can you see now the next scene? I've kept it the same day, but I made it an hour later. So they must imagine we're exploring. So it's an hour later, okay? The Thursday, 12 a.m. It's middle of the night and the family are all in bed. And the kids suddenly wake up to hear crying from a room at the end of the hall. As they reach the door, it suddenly bangs and a voice says, "Go away." Okay. So then I've made my next scene. And my next scene is the next morning. Okay. So I've changed my time and date appropriately. So 9 a.m, the 22nd, Victorian house. At the breakfast table, the kids explain to their parents about what they saw last night. The parents don't believe them and say they must have a nightmare. Okay. Then we're going on to the next one, which is scene 4. Now I've kept it the same day, but I've made it later on in the day. Okay. So we're now 12 a.m. again. The children wake up in the middle of the night and they go to the door. This time they discover the voice belongs to an old lady. They ask her why she's crying. She tells them she feels so alone and doesn't want to leave her house as she's memories of her family in it. The children ask her to stop frightening them and they will let her stay. She agrees. Okay. Then we're in the next day again. The family are in the house and the kids don't mention the ghost. In fact, we're actually about 2 months later than the last one. The family are happy in the house and the children don't mention the ghost to their parents. The ghost is finally happy to have company and now she does not think of the family as an intruder but her family, and this can be told through monologues.